battlefields of the east, Ukraine tries to repel the Russians. But on the western frontier, it's engaged in a different sort of war. Here, the authorities are trying to stop their citizens from getting out. They're needed in the army. It's short of recruits. But there are thousands of Ukrainians, like these men caught near the border with Romania, who do not want to fight. We make contact with a man preparing to flee through the mountains of western Ukraine. He calls himself Ivan and says he can't wait any longer.
I'm not being disloyal. Everyone understands this. Many of my friends have already gone. Anyone who has the opportunity is leaving.
And in a groundbreaking interview, we meet a smuggler who helps young men flee before they're conscripted. Stas says he's not ashamed of what he does.
People simply aren't ready to die. Young people aren't ready to bury themselves alive. So they turn to us for help. A lot of people are turning to us.
Some call them traitors. Others say they're weak. But every day, the authorities catch men suspected of dodging the draft. And the number of deserters is expected to climb as the government lowers the enlistment age from 27 to 25. In December, the army said it needed up to 500,000 more troops. It's a very sensitive matter, said President Zelensky, but he has bowed to the wishes of his generals. 2 years ago, a great wave of volunteers raced to sign up. But exhaustion has set in at the front, and the army is struggling to replace them. These images show members of 3rd Brigade fighting for their lives in the city of Avdiivka. At their recruitment center, we found a few men and a woman making inquiries. Some apply to join specific
is a public servant, which means he's exempt from conscription.
Thank you for coming.
But he did get the call-up, which made him panic. He cannot, in any way, imagine dying for Ukraine.
Many young people no longer leave their homes. There's always a risk. You have to be really careful and look around. 360 degrees, in case there's any danger. It's really stressful. Why don't young people want to be drafted into the army? Because they know the price of holding the front lines. It costs thousands of lives.
Each of these flags represents a fallen soldier. Ukraine doesn't communicate exact figures, but estimates put the number of troops killed, injured or captured at around 100,000. This lawyer is an expert in military matters. Dozens of...
Shalom. Giving all praises to my Heavenly Father. His name is Yahweh, by Yishem, Yahweh Shah, by Yishem, Kahar Kadash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders that rule well. Peace and many salutations to y'all that's toiling in this truth. And there you have it. The Ukrainians are fleeing the country to avoid being drafted or conscripted. And the reason why is the Ukrainians are losing the war against Russia, to the point to where, certain laws were published to lower the draft age limit. And here you have it. You have more people fleeing their homes because of this, and it made me think, what's going to happen when there's a draft that will happen here in the U.S. You know, there'll be protests. There'll be people fleeing from this place. All types of confusion. And the reason why is because people see the severity of this war that the world is about to enter into, which we know to be the third woe, which is prophesied in Revelation, alluding to World War III. Okay. And more people see that there is a big war coming, especially, after the situation happened with Iran and Israel, these various attacks that happened. And Israel is already proclaiming that there will be a retaliation to Iran's attack, in which Iran said that, if Israel were to attack them again, there would be, a bigger attack that will happen, which this could drag America into an open war with Iran, which Iran is allies with Russia. Okay. And all this again is prophesied in the scriptures. Okay. Including, guess what? The man of Babylon not being willing to fight in war. That has happened once with the Babylonians against the Persians, alluding to the ancient Babylonians, which is going to happen again in modern Babylon, which we know to be America. Okay. And examples of what's going to happen here in Babylon the Great is already being seen in Ukraine. So let's get to some scriptures. Now, this is Jeremiah 51, verse 30. And I'll read it in the NLT. If you're looking at your screen, it's going to be on your right hand side. Okay. It says, her mightiest, actually, I will start at 29 for edification. It says, the earth trembles and withers in pain, for everything Yahweh has planned against Babylon stands unchanged. Babylon will be left desolate without a single inhabitant. Her mightiest warriors no longer fight. They stay in their barracks, barracks. Their courage gone. They have become like women. The invaders have burned the houses and broken down the city gates. And this is what you see going on in Ukraine, man. You have guys that's, being circumspect once they leave the house, avoiding leaving the house. You have people out there in Ukraine paying smugglers $6,000 to $7,000 to smuggle them into Romania. Basically the what you see going on here in Texas, people paying smugglers to enter them into Texas. Well, conversely, you have people out there in Ukraine paying people to get them out of Ukraine into Russia, okay, to avoid fighting. And people view this as very cowardly. These people, the Edomites, they're not willing to fight for their country, because they see the power of Russia. If you paid attention to The video I just played you all, it stated that over 100,000 people have died from Ukraine. Okay, this is in a 2-year span. So if we're doing math, we'll say that within a 2-year span, each year, 50,000 people have died each year. Okay, now, this is a war that, your precious president, you so-called Negroes, your precious president Joe Biden, who you was crying to pay to save you all, has lied and said that that Ukraine is doing just fine, which could be further from the truth. They're losing that war front, okay? But losing that war front, all right? And those people over there understand it, and they're trying to avoid this war. Now, as I was looking up a cross-reference or, precepts to this particular precept right here, or verse, I should say, as I looked it up in the Blue Letter cross-references, I came across this that was very intriguing in Jeremiah 50, 51 and 30. It says, accordingly, the Babylonians, after the loss of a battle or two, never recovered their courage to fight the enemy in the field. They retired within their walls. And the first time that Cyrus came with his army before the place, he could not provoke them to venture forth, though he challenged the king to fight a duel with him. In the last he came, and the last time he came to consult with his officers respecting the best mode of carrying out the surge, since, said he, they do not come out to fight. Okay. All right. So what do we see going on in Ukraine? Well, there's various strongholds and cities that Russia has been winning. And these Ukrainians understand what's going on, man. They understand that, hey, we're fighting to lose the battle here. Okay. And also, that has deterred their courage. See, when the attack happened 2 years ago, there was a surge in volunteers, but it was mostly, middle-aged men. These various men have been on a front line, dying, fighting 2 years straight. They're worn out, so they need more people to, enter into the the war. That's why a draft, was introduced, and also within the draft, there's been a lowering of the age limit. It was 25, now it's 21. And these people see that Ukraine is, fighting a losing battle, and they don't want any parts of it. Okay. And that sentiment is going to be seen here in Babylon the Great, man. Okay. There's going to be a lot of people out there that's going to be dying. All right. So here comes a couple of precepts that Blue Letter has correlated with Jeremiah 51 and 30. It says, Psalm 76 and 5, the stout-hearted are spoiled. They have slept their sleep, and none of the men of might have found their hands. Isaiah 13, verse 7. Therefore shall, and this is going into Babylon the Great. This is going, you know what I'm saying, being destroyed. Okay, this is a future prophecy. It says, therefore shall all hands be faint, and every man's heart shall melt, and they shall be afraid. Pangs and sorrow shall take hold of them. Stomach pains, sorrow, from possibly losing a war, possibly dying on the front line. This is gonna, excuse me, this sentiment is gonna be seen here in Babylon the Great, man. It says, they shall be in pain as a woman that travaileth. They shall be amazed one at another. Their faces shall be as flames. You know what I'm saying? Lightened with fright. When somebody is scared, they become, especially Edom, they become white in the face. This is going to be seen here, man. Okay. Isaiah 19:16. In that day shall Egypt be like unto women, and they shall be afraid and fear because of the shaking of the hand of Yahweh of hosts, which he shaketh over it. That's right. The shaking of the hand. That means the judgment, the condemning of Egypt, which we know this place, Babylon the Great, aka America, is known as spiritual Egypt. Okay. All right. Because it upholds the things of Egypt, and this is a place of our captivity. All right. Jeremiah 50:36. A sword is upon the liars, and they shall doubt. A sword is upon her mighty men, and they shall be dismayed. And that word dismayed, look it up, means confused. Okay. A sword is upon their horses, and upon their chariots, and upon all the mingled people that are in the midst of her, and they shall become as a woman. A sword is upon her treasures, and they shall be robbed. That's right. These other nations are going to look to America as, treasures of booties, and we already see that sentiment with the influx of immigrants. A lot of these immigrants will be a catalyst to the downfall of Babylon the Great because they're coming over here with bad intentions. Okay. All right. And we'll leave it at that. We don't want to be taken down. All right. So just want to do a quick sit down. Pray was edifying. Fair use, in regards to the clips I used. Again, the prayer was edifying. On to the next. Shalom.